major update in the Trump immunity case. We do have a major update in the Trump immunity case, and also some fun verbiage from our favorite Adam Schiff.
Maybe the next senator from California, by the way.
Yeah, probably likely.
Probably likely.
Yeah.
Let me put up on the screen, though, and I'll describe for our radio audience what we've got. This is our brief that's going into the Supreme Court of the United States in Trump versus the United States of America. It is an amicus brief in support of the former president. It is on the issue of immunity. And in our view, the way the court should look at the case is there's a case called Nixon versus Fitzgerald, which allowed for immunity in civil cases for official acts. And acts the president takes as president cannot then later, when he's out of office, be subject to a lawsuit. Every president's going to be surrounded by lawyers, believe me, and they're surrounded by a lot of lawyers already, and it'll impact their decision-making. That should extend, of course, to criminal cases when it's an official act involved. An official act by nature shouldn't be deemed criminal. So what the Supreme Court needs to, and I think the left is now coming to the realization that the Supreme Court took the case to say that the district court and the D.C. Court of Appeals got it wrong when they said that there was no immunity for criminal acts here. I think the court's going to say by at least a 6-3 majority, maybe more, that there is, in fact, this limited immunity as it applies to official acts of the president, and then it would be sent back down to the trial court to determine what are official acts and then be litigated again, meaning Jack Smith's case there isn't going to trial before the election. And it's not going to trial before the election also because the day before that case is argued, you've got a January 6th protester case being argued, and in that case, the defendant is arguing that the interference with Congress statute, which is 2 of the 4 counts against Trump, was interpreted so broadly as to infringe on First Amendment rights. Judge Katsas, speaking for the dissent in that case at the D.C. Circuit, said that the petitioner was right, that the statute was being interpreted overbroad. Supreme Court took it. My view is they took it to overturn it. So Jack Smith, I think, is about to be hit with a second defeat in those cases. And then, of course, we won the 14th Amendment case in Colorado. Those cases all are over with now, and all those cases are in the process of being dismissed. So our brief on the immunity is going into the court. There it is on the screen. It's a solid document and really, I think, sets forth the law really clearly, and I think it will be influential as our briefs are read by the court when this comes up.
Yeah, we'll get back from the break. We'll tell you and play for you what Adam Schiff had to say, why he is not thrilled with the Supreme Court. And again, as you said, a guy likely to be a senator, someone who is likely to be one of the people who is voting to confirm or not the next Supreme Court justices. So we'll discuss that coming up in the next segment. Before we do, though, and I want you right now to understand that the threats to our life and liberty are growing more intense each and every day. We urgently need your support to meet this critical challenge. So right now, go to ACLJ.org, because any donation you give is doubled right now. That's right. We're filing a lawsuit today to defend a teacher at the public schools in Texas who was banned from praying outside the school because students could see and join in. We've also filed a lawsuit defending students at another school who were banned by their coach from praying before a track meet. This, along with the fact that we have filed a federal lawsuit Friday against the State Department over the issue of funds from the State Department being given to UNRWA, with the knowledge that UNRWA has been aiding Hamas. So right now, I encourage you, go to ACLJ.org. Not only support the ACLJ if you can with a single donation, but click that box, become a champion today, and have your gifts doubled. Again, help fight alongside of us each and every day. ACLJ.org. When we get back, play that clip from Adam Schiff.
Some people think champions are bored, that it's a title that requires something only a handful can ever possess.
There are times in our lives that we are called, every one of us, to step up and serve a cause greater than ourselves.
Even when the loudest voices in the room say it's wrong, that it can't be done. It can be a difficult stand, but it's one any of us can make, including you.
You can be the change. You can make that difference.
You can be a champion. We cannot do what we do without you.
By becoming a monthly donor, you can become a champion of life.
A champion of liberty, a champion of freedom.
Please join us. Become an ACLJ champion today.
Welcome back to Secular. We were teasing it before. We want to get straight to what Adam Schiff had to say, along with everybody else.
I want to put this in context. The left has come to the realization that the immunity case, which they poo-pooed, they said the court would never hear. Then they said, well, when they did take it, they're gonna affirm. Now they're all saying, oh, they're going to take it. They're probably going to reverse. So now you're seeing this concerted effort to attack the Supreme Court's credibility. That's what the left's doing. You're going to see that with comments we're going to play. But we're going to play in this segment all the comments from the Democratic leadership since President Obama and their attacks on the court.
All right. Where should we start?
Let's start with Adam Schiff.
Let's start with Adam Schiff. All right, let's move on. Adam Schiff, take a listen.
The Supreme Court moved with great speed when it came to ruling that Trump could appear on the ballot. The question is, will it also move with great speed in rejecting this bogus immunity claim? If it doesn't, it's making a deliberate decision, essentially, to push the trial past the election. And I think that would be a terrible decision, both for the interest of justice. It would be a terrible decision in depriving American voters of the information they would learn during the course of that trial. But it would also just further discredit this partisan and reactionary court.
Okay, here's the ridiculous nature of what he said. First of all, the Supreme Court had to get the case involving the one we did as the Supreme Court on the 14th Amendment done before Super Tuesday. So, of course, they expedited it. Here they've taken it. They haven't expedited it. They're going to reverse Adam Schiff because the decision of the D.C. Court of Appeals was so absurd. Immunity stops the moment you leave the White House. Well, that's not immunity at all. And it doesn't extend to criminal cases, but it applies to civil cases for official acts. So they're going to reverse, in my humble opinion. But what you're going to see, and you're going to see it during this segment of the broadcast, is this now concentrated attack on the Supreme Court. They're not getting what they want in these decisions, and they're going to attack the Supreme Court. Harry, what's your take on this?
Well, my take number one is no one has done a better job of discrediting himself than Adam Schiff. He has consistently attacked the court on a partisan basis. And Adam Schiff is better known as Mr. Disinformation. So he's now warning the Supreme Court. Keep in mind that Adam Schiff claimed that Donald Trump was a Russian agent. He then
said he had the proof of that.
And then he claimed that the Hunter Biden story in 2020 was bogus and it was Republican disinformation. Now he's attacking the Supreme Court. In attacking the Supreme Court and in attacking the separation of powers, Adam Schiff, in my opinion, has trampled on the Constitution like the Vandals trampled on Rome during the 5th century.
Let's walk it back now. You heard from Adam Schiff. You heard what he just said. Now let's take you a little bit back. Here's President Biden at the State of the Union.
It's a decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court majority wrote the following, and with all due respect, justices, women are not without electoral power. Electoral or political power. You're about to realize just how much you're right about that.
You know, the last one that did this was Chuck Schumer. We'll play his in a moment, where they attacked the Supreme Court, and then someone tried to assassinate Brett Kavanaugh. They don't realize the words they're saying. And an independent judiciary is just that. It means they don't give you decisions you always like. Listen, I've argued, I think we've calculated now, I've had 25 cases at the Supreme Court, argued like 16 of them. But we've had others that were summarily disposed of. You know, and we've generally won, but there's been a couple we lost, and you know what? That happens. And I don't say the court's illegitimate. I said, I disagree with the court's opinion. They cannot help themselves. But it goes past Joe Biden, go all the way back to President Obama.
With all due deference to separation of powers, last week the Supreme Court reversed a century of law that I believe will open the floodgates for special interests, including foreign corporations, to spend without limit in our elections. I don't think American elections should be bankrolled by America's most powerful interests, or worse, by foreign entities. They should be decided by the American people. And I'd urge Democrats and Republicans to pass a bill that helps correct some of these problems.
So there you go. Another attack on a Supreme Court opinion, by the way. Was this the famous one where Justice Alito said, without saying the words, not true? And by the way, President Obama was totally wrong on the analysis of that case. The First Amendment implications were very important here. First Amendment rights apply in the political context. Democrats don't always like that, Harry, but that is what the law is.
Absolutely. And the Democrats have taken advantage of that particular law. Keep in mind that if you look at the structure of the Democratic Party itself, it is indeed a corporation. So if the Democrats are going to be consistent, they ought to deprive themselves of their own First Amendment rights first and set an example for the rest of us.
Let's take it. You can't do this without hearing from Chuck Schumer. I think he's been obviously in the news the last one. This was a classic back from 2020. You remember it. We've all heard it. We've all remembered it almost exactly 4 years ago.
This was the worst one of all, I think.
Yeah, kind of a week before the world shut down. This was Chuck Schumer. Go ahead.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch, I want to tell you, Kavanaugh, you have released the whirlwind, and you will pay the price. You won't know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions.
You will not know what hit you if you go forward with these awful decisions. The decision hadn't been made yet.
That was
the threat.
Yeah, that was the leaked decision.
And, of course, somebody in one of the chambers, I guess I know who, but I think, but leaked it out. But Chuck Schumer threatened justices that if they didn't get the decision right, according to Chuck Schumer, they would release a, quote, Harry, whirlwind.
He's doing it to Israel now, so that's fine.
Absolutely. This is part of the Democratic playbook. They demand that the Supreme Court adhere to the Democratic ideology. If not, they will then claim that the Supreme Court is illegitimate. They will then attempt to discredit the United States Supreme Court. And if we focus, for instance, on the current prosecutions of Donald Trump, even Adam Schiff was forced to admit that some of the issues that have come up that have delayed the Donald Trump trials are basically a function of the Department of Justice delaying bringing the lawsuits in the first place. So they could have had these prosecutions in 2021 or 2022, but they decided to wait until 2023 and 2024. That is a mistake of their own making.
Absolutely.
They ought to pay the price.
You know, it was the Department of Justice that waited to do this all right before the election. It's blowing up on them. Every time they do it, Trump gets stronger. But the fact is, their timing on this is what they said. We've got an interesting call which ties into the Trump litigation thing.
Yeah,
I think we should.
Let's go to Karen in North Carolina.
Hi, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I was watching Bannon, and it said on the ticker tape that Trump's lawyers said that Trump cannot secure the $455 million. My question is, is he able to still appeal? What is his recourse, and are they going to take his property?
You make a motion to reduce the you file a motion to reduce the bond because if $400 million is $200 million would be fine. It depends on what he can actually come up with. He's a real estate developer, and a lot of their assets are tied up in buildings. Now they have significant cash reserves, but $500 million would blow the cash flow of any business. I think this was such an overreach to begin with. This is a valuation case with no victim. You're talking about a victimless crime. So I think if the court was wise, they would reduce the bail amount so that they could go on a normal appeal process. But nothing in these cases is happening normally. Believe me, I was working on a brief. Let's put it up on the Supreme Court of the United States. I'll put it back up. This brief is being filed, and as I was redrafting some of our team did a great job tightening up a little bit. I realized this is ridiculous that we're even having to have arguments on cases like this, Logan. It's absurd. Let me tell you what's not absurd. The 4,600 people that are watching just on YouTube right now.
Thousands of people are watching right now and all across the platforms. Yeah, if you're brand new to this broadcast, we do this each and every day. We encourage you to subscribe. Even if you're not brand new and you just haven't hit that button, hit that subscribe button. It really does matter for us. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Rumble, follow the channel. You know the drill if you're on any of the other outlets. But we encourage you, if you're right now, if you're brand new, or if you haven't subscribed, to do that. We are of our Life and Liberty Drive. So if you want to support this broadcast and the legal work that we do as well, the media work and the legal work, you can do that right now as all donations are doubled. We're in the middle of the Life and Liberty Drive, which again, all donations are matched. And we are really pushing for ACLJ champions right now. Those are people that have stand up and said, I will support the ACLJ at a monthly basis. It's going to be a jam-packed show, so don't go anywhere. Again, ACLJ.org. Right now, Life and Liberty Drive. We'll be right back.
Life, in its essence, is built of moments, experiences, and connections that define our existence. It is a journey filled with opportunities for growth, learning, and the formation of relationships that enrich our souls. Life is precious because it offers the chance to make a difference, to leave a mark on the world, however big or small. It is a gift that demands our attention, care, and reverence, encouraging us to live fully, love deeply, and leave a legacy of kindness and compassion for future generations. At the ACLJ, we choose life.
Hey, welcome back to the broadcast, everyone. We want to spend some more time on this situation with these courts, and we got the immunity case up there, which everybody on the left said first they would never agree to hear it. Then they did. Then they said, well, Harry, if they're going to hear it, you know they're going to say there's no immunity. You can't be immunity for criminal acts, except what they deem a criminal act are official acts of a president while he's president, and there's already a precedent called Nixon versus Fitzgerald. I noticed over the weekend they're saying, oh, look, let's be realistic here. They're going to probably reverse and send it back down to the district court, which is exactly, put it on the screen. This is the brief we're filing with the Supreme, and that'll be bound and, this will be bound and printed, and that'll be done today. This is the brief we're submitting to the Supreme Court on that issue. We took a very narrow and very specific approach. Sometimes you just need to get the ball in the basket. You don't need a three-point play here. You just need to get the ball. Actually, you just need 1 point. This could be a penalty shot, a foul shot. It's an easy decision in my view. They say that there's official immunity so it's limited to official acts. It applies past when the president comes out of office. And also, I think this is important, it continues while he's out of office, or else it's no immunity at all. But Harry, the left was convinced this was going to go the other way. Totally convinced.
I think that's correct. I think the left has been consistently wrong. First, they suggested that all of the litigation, all of the trials, all of the prosecutions would harm Donald Trump's candidacy. That, of course, has backfired and blown up in their face. Then the left has been consistently wrong with respect to the immunity case. Then they said that the immunity claims by Trump were bogus. Second, they said the court and courts wouldn't take it. Now they're of the opinion that the Supreme Court may indeed issue an opinion that favors Donald Trump. So at the end of the day, the American people should do one thing and one thing only. They should not listen to the left. The left has basically been taken over by bad forecasters who really don't know very much about the law. They are animated by one thing, animus toward Donald Trump.
That's clear.
Which blinds them to the merits of many of these legal claims. And so here we have the Georgia case, which is almost blowing up in the face of Fani Willis, and we have other cases that are likely to blow up as well.
Yeah, actually, Logan, we have a call on the Fani Willis Atlanta case. Let's go ahead and take it.
Let's go to Jeff in North Carolina. You're on the air.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, guys. I hadn't heard anyone bring this up or talk about it, but concerning the money that was given to Nathan Wade and his firm, is he going to have to pay that back or give that back, or does he get it as a parting gift, or how's that going to work?
No, they will not get the money back because he billed for it. It was paid by Fulton County. He sent in bills, authorized, services were rendered. That's it. So the money's – here's the fiasco in Fulton's problem. And this is – when you have the odor of mendacity still surrounding the case – I mean, I even saw the liberal commentators on CNN and MSNBC say she's been severely wounded in this, Fani Willis, even if she tries it. It just kind of reeks now of total impropriety. And I think the next move here is going to be a whole series of motions to dismiss and motions to exclude and motions for I mean, they're just evidentiary suppression here. I mean, it's going to be dramatic on her. She may fight back, but the case is ridiculous to begin with on RICO. But I think, Harry, and that, the money doesn't come back, but the damage has been done.
Absolutely. So if you look at the liberal commentariat, if you look at Jeffrey Toobin, who was formerly on CNN, if you look at Eli Honig, who's currently on CNN.
By the way, Jeff Toobin's back on CNN.
Is he back?
He is.
Okay. Wow.
Yep.
I didn't realize that.
Yep.
I haven't been following him personally.
Well, he's a friend of mine, so.
But anyways, these commentators are in agreement now that the Fani Willis case is likely to blow up if it is not already blown, and deservedly so. And so there will be motion after motion by the defendants, which will inevitably delay the trial, likely past November, in addition to which the Fani Willis case may indeed be handicapped because the case was initiated grounded on an illegal phone call in Florida, according to news reports. And so then there's a legal doctrine called the fruit of the poisonous tree, which may come into play, which will prevent any additional prosecutions and provide grounds for individuals who have already pled guilty to seek the removal of their guilty plea.
There are so many motions coming in this case, Logan, after that ruling. First of all, the judge was wrong. They both should have been thrown off the case. I mean, it was ridiculous. But putting that aside, there are going to be so many motions coming in this case because these are really good lawyers, people like Steve Sadow, Jennifer Little. They're really competent lawyers. They haven't seen anything yet. It's that bad. We take another call.
Yeah, let's go to Tommy, who's calling in Alabama on line 1. You're on the air.
Hey, Tommy.
Thank you for taking my call. Just want to let y'all know I really appreciate the work you're doing, and I've donated in the past, but I'm going to step that up and make it monthly.
Oh, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, if you become ACLJ champion today, go to ACLJ.org and make sure you
Makes
do
a
that.
big difference.
And if you are watching online, if you're one of the new people watching, maybe you got served this on YouTube or Rumble, and you've never seen our broadcast, we do this each and every day as well as our legal work. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to ask you to do something for me. Hit that subscribe button. Also, hit that thumbs up if you're on YouTube right now, because that means more people will see this. This point of view will be heard and seen by more people. We thank all the people who watch us each and every day through all the different platforms, and we try to make sure our content is available for you for free, and we can't do that without your support, so we appreciate that.
Logan, for our people that are watching, because I'm looking at the numbers, and they're significant.
Yeah.
They need to understand the amount of content. They may not know the amount of content we produce every day.
Oh, yeah. We do this show every day, and then there's tons of pieces that go up each and every day, whether that's on ACLJ.org, our website, which has written pieces, blogs, news articles from some all the people you've heard on this broadcast today, and top leading voices in our kind of sphere. So go to ACLJ.org, not just to make a donation, but also to check out the great content we provide. And then if you're watching on Rumble, if you're watching on YouTube, you can get so much amazing content each and every day, not just this broadcast. This broadcast is great, though. It's every day. It's an hour. And then beyond that, we produce a lot of great content, amazing team here. And, of course, our legal work that goes on, 24/7.
Let's go ahead and take Bill's call coming out of this whole what Supreme Court is being attacked by Schumer. He's already been attacked by Biden.
Yeah, let's go to Bill, who is calling from Wyoming on line 3, watching on ACLJ.org, which we appreciate. Bill, welcome.
Hi, Bill.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. I think these guys are suffering from tunnel vision because of their myopia. They're going to open up a whole Pandora's box if the Supreme Court goes their way, because it's going to bounce back on Biden. It's going to bounce back on Obama. And it's ridiculous.
Bill, I said to our radio audience that if I was Joe Biden and they were saying there's no immunity for official acts of the president from criminal prosecution after he's out of office, if I was Joe Biden, I'd be picking up the phone, calling Merrick Garland, Harry, and saying, what are you doing? This hamstrings me. I'm the president. It affects every president.
I think you're right. However, one of the issues with respect to the Democrats, even though they're very consistent in terms of their opposition to Donald Trump, is that they refuse to take a long-term perspective. In the long run, Biden would be helped with an immunity decision that favored Donald Trump. But the Biden folks, they're so focused on the next election, they basically forget about the long-term consequences if the president no longer enjoys immunity for official acts. The president of the United States, whether Democrat or Republican, should enjoy immunity with respect to their official acts. Otherwise, the presidency would be hamstrung.
But if you look at a series of these cases, I pointed out the irregularities over the last week of each one of these cases. The New York valuation case, $18 million for Mar-a-Lago, that was ridiculous. Okay, the parking lot's worth more than that. Then you take a look at Jack Smith. Well, he's getting hit from every side. He's got the January 6th protester case about the interpretation of interfering with an act of Congress. Judge Katsas, very good Court of Appeals judge, said that in a dissent. Way overbroad, chilled First Amendment free speech. If they win at the Supreme Court, and I think they're gonna, that is going to be, I mean, realistically, 2 of the 4 counts are out. Then you got the immunity issue, which I'm filing our brief. Put it on the screen, folks. We're filing our brief on behalf of the American Center for Law and Justice, supporting the former president's position. That is going to the printer today, filed tomorrow. They're going to grant a limited immunity for official acts under Nixon versus Fitzgerald, or else the president's going to have even more lawyers than they already do. And Rick, this goes to the point of the irregularities in every one of these cases. You go to the documents case. Joe Biden had documents in like 19 different locations. So it's ridiculous. And it makes us look like a third world country.
Yeah, that's the problem that I have, is just the strategy to go after President Trump through the courts, through the manipulation of the law by Democrats, the partisan nature of this. That's what makes me sad about this, because it damages the United States of America and our brand. We tell countries all the time to clean up their court system. We train their judges. I'm not sure that we're going to be able to keep the moral high ground here unless we clean up our own court systems. We can't have this. But what you see is all of these cases falling apart. Thank God we do have lawyers like the ACLJ and our legal team fighting this. But we shouldn't have to spend all of this money and go through all of this distraction just simply to try to prove that what the Democrats are doing is partisan in nature and weaponizing the court.
Rick, I'd be remiss here, though, folks, if I didn't ask you to pray for Rick's family, because I know, Rick, your mom's been ill, and I know you believe in the power of prayer, and we've got a lot of people, millions of people watching and listening to this broadcast. So pray for Rick's family. And Rick, keep us posted. But we are praying for you and your family. We do know that.
Thank you. As you know, my mom has raised 4 kids to be very pro-Israel, evangelical Christians, to think about how politics and policy and faith all interact. And so I thank you. I covet those prayers.
Yes, thank you very much, Rick. We'll be in touch.